rare earths. Mines in the 21st century? Seriously? Unfortunately, sometimes history has to go backward in order to move forward. There are about 200,000 workers in coal mines in Europe, all skills that would be useful for rare earth mining. Just think, our planet contains 120 million tons of rare earths, enough to last us 3 or 4 centuries. It's obvious that there is a close correlation between rare earths and our future because they fuel the two most important transitions happening right now. The digital and the energy transition. Technologies that produce sophisticated and high-performance equipment are hungry for rare earths. They possess extraordinary magnetic and conductive properties, and they have an impact on important sectors such as electronics, aerospace, electric mobility, and renewable energy. The geopolitical impacts are enormous. Just think, China holds a third of the planet's entire supply. And obviously, the problem is that right now, China holds the keys to our future. But what are they? They are 18 elements from the periodic table. The lanthanides, which are part of the larger group of 34 critical materials, among which are, let's say, materials we know very well, such as nickel and cobalt. In reality, it's not that they are rare. They could even be found in our own backyard. They're mixed with other elements, and the costs are high because they need to be extracted. In 2021, 280,000 tons of rare earths were extracted, 32 times more than in 1,950. The new European regulation, also aimed at becoming independent from China, stipulates that by 2030 we must extract at least 10% ourselves and another 15% should come from the circular economy, that is, from recycling. The deposits are mainly in Northern Europe. In Italy there are 4,500 sites, but half of them are for marble, gravel and some not for rare earths. Italy has a tradition of very important mining activities which has been basically reduced to almost nothing due to the industrial policies implemented in the past. Today, it becomes difficult to rebuild a supply chain because we need researchers, but also quite simply public administration officials to evaluate extraction projects. The profiles are linked to two contexts: the extractive sector, which is definitely less feasible because we don't have mining engineers. There's only one course at the Polytechnic University of Turin. It takes 4 or 5 years to train a mining technician. Just think about an engineer or a geologist. But we also need workers because in Italy we have quarrymen, not miners. And miners no longer have the necessary skills here. They have to come from abroad, from Poland, Ukraine, North Africa. But we also need blasters and explosives experts. You have to open a pit from which very narrow tunnels branch out. That's why in Africa they make children work, and hundreds of them die. But we also need operators for very complex machinery like bulldozers, cranes, and the legendary trucks, the huge dump truck schemes too, because they have to determine the purity of the material. It's much more realistic to talk about a circular economy, about managing, recycling, processing, and sorting these mineral elements, which are essentially waste that we can find in electronic devices like tablets, cell phones, and PCs. In this area, Italy holds a leading position in the circular economy. 4 European projects have been approved this year on in Silio, Sardinia, which, however, is currently facing some issues with the Sardinian regional authority. And the profiles are definitely green jobs: environmental engineers, geologists, but also specialists in waste disposal, recycling and treatment, as well as chemists or logistics experts for vehicle selection and tracking. Good communication will also be important because it will be necessary to engage with local communities and populations, since it's often not pleasant to have a mining site open up right in front of your home. But we have very strong environmental regulations in our country. Thank you for your attention. Please share your opinions, they matter. I'll see you in the next video.